late night, they ain't getting no rest. Work so hard, people think I'm obsessed. Cream at the crop, won't settle for no less. Headed to the top, remaining so focused. Yeah, gorilla of the jungle, I've been beating on my chest. I learned from the struggle, it was all just a test.
Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're going to jump back into the crypto side of things. I want to take a look at Bitcoin, Ethereum, as well as some altcoins and some other metrics that I have been watching and been sharing with you guys over the recent weeks and months. See what's going on. There is a request for a Doge chart, so we're going to take a look at that. And then we're also going to take a look at all the altcoins we previously looked at, see what's going on in the charts. So without further ado, we're just going to jump into things over here. I want to start off, this is from my Telegram group, so if you're interested in joining, I do share more write-ups, different little things here and there, thoughts that, might not necessarily warrant an entire video. It just allows me also to kind of be in touch with my followers if they want to ask questions, request charts, they can ask me that there. It's a nice open place to share information, data, and yeah, definitely worth checking out. So this is just something I did share in there kind of about 3 weeks ago. We basically I did a little write-up and then looked at the multiple scenarios we were kind of looking at in terms of these different metrics that I do watch. So the first thing we looked at here is the USDT dominance. So USDT is the largest stable coin in crypto. That's Tether, so they do have the largest amount of liquidity and the largest market cap, so it is a driving factor in the market. You can see basically through here, every single time that USDT dominance started spiking like this, we had that downwards price action in the underlying asset here. So that's Bitcoin right there. Every time we had those spikes, we see a dump in the price, and then when we get these dumps in the dominance, that's when we actually see that upside. So basically what we saw in the prior cycle not the prior cycle kind of thing, but basically coming up, we had our major first initial dump of USDT dominance, first pump of USDT dominance that coincided with the dump in Bitcoin, and then we had a pump in Bitcoin followed by a breakdown in dominance, and then a even further big bear market dump by Bitcoin, and that was that extended uptrend breakout by USDT dominance. So what we see over here, kind of that similar setup where we have the uptrend and then our initial downtrend, secondary uptrend, and then secondary downtrend into the bear market. If that were to continue playing out, we would see USDT dominance continuing to spike up. So I'm going to actually show you over, we'll just take a look at a few more slides here and then I'll get onto the charts. But we've basically seen USDT continuing to break out, continuing in that high time frame uptrend price action. We have that bullish cross of these two moving averages. So it's not the most bullish case for risk on assets in crypto like ETH as well as the altcoins. Basically, we had our bear case kind of playing out. We're having a sustained breakout right now. We are getting that bull cross of the 50 and 200 day, and we're continuing that upward trend, as well as starting to continue seeing that pressure on our risk assets. So things like Bitcoin down a little bit here. So I'll just take a look over here. So the SPY, another one that we're watching. The reason I think is really important is if the SPY and the NASDAQ continue to break down, which again, I showed you that yesterday in the charts. They're getting rejected from key moving averages, downtrending price action. It's not looking very good for all the markets right now. So that's what I mean when I want to sit on my hands. I'm not interested in buying risky assets like Bitcoin and crypto if the macro economic situation is not strong enough to kind of continue that uptrend structure. And seeing stuff like the SPY and the NASDAQ really breaking down and seeing Bitcoin fall with it, it really tells me Bitcoin is not... From a technical perspective, it's not ready to be considered that digital gold narrative, although it does have a lot of characteristics of digital gold in terms of fundamentals. The way it's being treated by markets right now is not digital gold. It's being treated as more like a tech stock. It's actually more correlated to the NASDAQ, which is the top 100 tech stocks, than it ever has been in its history. So it tells me the market is treating Bitcoin as a tech stock, not the digital gold narrative that many people want want to hang on to. We have to listen to the market because the market is never wrong. We're the ones who are wrong when we position ourselves on the opposing side of the market. So just continuing to follow along. SPY breaking down, NASDAQ breaking down, Dow Jones breaking down, and the IWM also continuing to show more relative weakness, which is not the best warning sign or best signal for the kind of macro health of markets. We want to see the IWM playing catch up to the other macro indices, not showing more weakness, because that's kind of more signaling in terms of kind of recessionary pressures. We see Bitcoin also is lower than it was when I posted this, so continuing to break down in that bear case scenario. We see ETH Bitcoin, also nothing to write home about. It's continuing its downtrend for now. Looking at Total 3, we were trying to build a little bit of a bottom on Total 3, although we've lost some of that structure. Again, we'll get into the charts here. And Others Dominance. Others Dominance actually doing a little bit better than Total 3 and ETH Bitcoin, in my opinion. We'll continue on showing that. So basically, you saw USDT Dominance really breaking out there. So if you're interested in joining that Telegram group, the link is in the description. You're welcome to come join, ask me questions, request charts. Otherwise, I just share a lot of thoughts there too. So just getting into the USDT dominance chart right here, this is what I'm showing you. On the weekly, we are in that uptrending price action. We got the bullish cross of our two moving averages. We're holding well above our VRVP point of control, and we are holding these trend lines, and we're above our moving averages, higher highs, higher lows on the weekly. Looking really strong there for USDT dominance. So we'll continue watching that, but we do see we're getting to a little bit of more maybe a lower high, a little bit more overheated here in the near term. So we could actually see this, start to spike up a little bit, put in that lower high, and then maybe start to see a breakdown from there. That's going to be the most ideal case. If we continue to see this showing strength, it's not good for Bitcoin, Ethereum, or altcoins. And we do see here Bitcoin down on the day, looking here at 82,540. So if we take a look here, I just want to show you kind of on the weekly, looking at the prior cycle peak. So again, I've talked about these comparisons. Looking here, that higher high, that was a bearish divergence on the weekly RSI, the same thing that we had over here. So what I see is this initial extension, bear cross, consolidation underneath the 50-day, regain that, and then a secondary leg up. And then this is what I'm paying attention to right now. Watch, see, we basically broke down here, swept just below that 200-day moving average. We got a bounce up into the 50-day moving average right here, and then we rejected here, had another subsequent drop. So we dropped 35% from this correction after getting rejected from the 50-day. Look where we came back to and retested. We retested the support level that we kind of bounced from in that mid-cycle. So coming in through here, retesting it, this actually coincides with a Fibonacci retracement from the cycle low to high. So that's that 618 Fibonacci. We came down, we bounced from here, we got a little relief rally, so 45% move back into the 200-day moving average where we got rejected and confirmed that bear market continuation. So if we're looking at the current cycle price action, this is basically where we broke out of our bear market structure. We went into a bit of a sideways consolidation phase in through here, and then this is our definitive bull market. So a lot of people saying the bull market hasn't even started, but I don't know how you could look at this chart, look at the structure of the moving averages, and then look at it over here and tell me the bull market hasn't started. We've gone up 7x from the lows to the highs for Bitcoin. So to say that the bull market has not started is just kind of ignorant, in my opinion. A 7x move doesn't happen looking in this structure during a bear market, and it hasn't been seen ever before in Bitcoin's history. So just paying attention, very similar structure in terms of moving averages, price action, and our indicators that we watched that I talked about in previous videos. So what we have is we've got our initial sweep under the 200-day moving average. We had our back test into the 50-day moving average, rejection, huge rejection there. So really our bearish candle. What we're looking for now is, do we get that down, that continued drop to support? If so, that support level, we do have a few support levels. If we hit the same Fibonacci level as we did in this cycle, that's right down here. That's sub $55,000 Bitcoin. And to me, if we hit that, the cycle is done for sure. I think that's just that dead cat bounce back up, maybe retesting the 200-day lower macro high, and then into that bear market consolidation phase. So we'll continue watching that. You know, we need to make sure that Bitcoin is looking good, that the stock market's looking good. For now, everything's just showing that weakness, stuck under our key moving averages, showing that downtrending price action for now. We can kind of see this is a slightly higher low on the weekly, but we don't have that confirmed multiple higher highs and lows backed by other technical factors. So still sitting on our hands. We look at the Bitcoin CME here. So this is the Bitcoin futures. Basically what I want to show you is a bunch of different things. They're called gap fills. So we did experience a bunch of these recently. I'll flip to the lower time frame so you can see them better. Basically what we have here, we saw a price coming up, and then with Bitcoin futures, because they only trade on certain days, you get these kind of daily gaps. So basically the market closed here, and then when it opened again, there's left this gap in between price, and more often than not these gaps will get filled, so we need to pay attention to these. That's why when we pumped all the way up here and then we started seeing bearish price action, we recognized this CME gap down here, targeted it as a swing entry. So you saw we came back, filled our swing position, and then we had a nice rally up to here, so nice swing trade, and then again targeting that gap fill as well. So look at here, another gap forming up there, and then we came back, retested that, filled that gap, and then after this dump we formed another gap right through here. So although we continued dropping down here, fully filling this gap. So that's the other thing. You kind of see right in here, we only partially filled that gap. We didn't fill it to the extent of this wick here. So that's what we saw. We still got that pump up, but ultimately coming back and filling the entirety of that gap right through there before we rallied back up to this gap and then getting rejected, leaving another gap, and then kind of here. So we just had this uptrending price action, again targeting this gap with that bearish kind of price pattern there. So we talked about that bearish wedge. I'll show you. Basically once we saw that breaking down, that was that signal that we're likely going to continue downtrending. What we see, bearish wedge pattern, so anything like that, basically huge bearish candle, same thing in through there. That's that two inside and out pattern for candlesticks. So what I want to see here is we need Bitcoin to hold support on the higher time frame. So if we look at the weekly here, we did fill that gap, so I don't see any gaps right now that are looking like a concern. We could come back to that sub 80,000 Bitcoin mark. We want to hold these lows in through here. So if we can hold the 200-day as support, that's going to be the first step, and then we need to continue that uptrending price action and then regain that 50-day moving average. So really paying attention to that. Looking at Bitcoin dominance here, continuing just to show strength. We look at it on the weekly, although it is quite overheated, you know, still showing good relative strength on the daily chart. I still think it could get another leg up for Bitcoin dominance here. We take a look at our vortex indicator, also showing a bullish cross on the RSI, or the MACD. We had our bullish cross on the RSI coming into neutral territory, and we had a bullish cross of the vortex indicator. So still looking good for Bitcoin dominance. We can continue to see it break out of this pattern. You know, still just showing good relative strength, so uptrending, you know, holding that 50-day as support. Not surprised with how most of our altcoins are looking right now. Ethereum for now just continues in this downwards consolidation channel, targeting that 786 Fibonacci, closer under 1600 ETH. You know, I might start to DCA a position around there, but I'm going to save the majority of my buying for that confirmed trend reversal to the upside, because we're still stuck under the key moving averages. We're still in that downtrending price action. You saw it right through here. We tried to reverse it. That's that bear flag structure, but ultimately just breaking down like everything else. So I'm going to show you a lot of charts that are going to look pretty similar today. It's just this bearish wedge breaking down. So we're going to have to see if we can hold these lows through here. Otherwise, that 786 comes into play sub 1600. So pay attention to that. In terms of Ethereum Bitcoin, we also saw it breaking down from this trend line here. So if we take a look at the higher time frame, basically we've just been downtrending in through here, and then even breaking down, back testing, rejecting rejecting. So looking at a potential, we could even see Ethereum come down to that 0.02 Bitcoin valuation. Might offer a decent another opportunity to hedge that trade. Swap some Bitcoin to Ethereum if that's within your strategy or your risk profile. Looking at total 3 here. Also, it's going to resemble pretty similar. So although we're holding pretty decent structure in terms of the market, if we take a look at our daily, we're going to see a little bit of that breakdown that I talked about. So again, bearish wedge breakdown. We need to hold these lows here at about 750, 745 billion. Worst case scenario, we might come down, sweep the lows here at 700. So we need to see support in through here. If we break down and then get rejected by this, I think we're likely to head to this lower accumulation target down here. So pay attention to that. Again, nothing really going on in the markets right now. Stuff is just looking weak. It's not looking bottomed. It's breaking down. So we want to see support really come in. We need to see buying pressure. I'm not seeing the kind of volume that I want to see in the market currently. So in terms of others' dominance here, we're also just in this bearish consolidation pattern, but we haven't broken it like the other ones yet. So it does have a little bit of a chance to kind of continue in here and hopefully break out. That's a little bit higher, closer above its 50-day moving average. So showing a little bit more relative strength. That being said, we're right at these lows, and we take a look at our momentum indicators. They're looking bearish, so we have that bearish cross coming with the MACD, sorry. We did get a confirmed bearish cross of the RSI, and that vortex indicator is also showing a bearish setup there. So others' dominance, again, everything's just consolidating. I'm not really rushing into anything in terms of size. We look at Avalanche, showing a little bit more relative strength, so it's still maintaining this downtrend breakout with that uptrending price action on the daily. What we want to see, though, is these indicators really reset, so we can see the RSI start to curl back up. We need to see total 3 and others show some strength so that these assets can get a bit of relief. But for now, we'll flip over to Cardano. Cardano losing that support. That's that bearish wedge breakdown structure. So holding or waiting for Cardano, not really interested in that for now. So if the chart's in that downtrending price action, I'm not that interested in it. We can see in through here, Immutable X showing, it's a little bit stronger, but that being said, we'll flip to the 1 hour time frame and you'll see that we're kind of losing that price action. So yeah, still just downtrending, guys. We're not interested in buying into this. We're going to flip over to H-bar. H-bar also has lost support, but it's come into this downsloping trend line. So I'll show you here. Yeah, basically what we have is we've lost that support in through here, this green line. So we're just, again, downtrending price action, looking for that retracement potentially to the 786 for a higher time frame accumulation opportunity. Otherwise, wait for the breakout, the higher highs and lows. If we see something like this play out in H-bar, where this is just a little deviation to kind of stop out all the traders, we could break back above, maybe we get rejected by the trend line, we go down, put in that higher low, put in a subsequent higher high, and then we come in, back test that 50-day moving average, and that's where we start our next leg from there. So looking for that entry over here if price action like this plays out. Otherwise, we're looking for a potential opportunity to buy down here close to 11 cents for that 786. Looking at SUI here, SUI coming down, so holding the lows for now. It is a little bit of a swing trade. That being said, the momentum indicators not looking too good on the lower time frames currently. So yeah, still just that downtrending price action, losing key levels of support. So although I had a swing trade in SUI, I closed it at a minimal loss just due to the weakness that the chart's showing right now. Not buying into that downtrending price action. We want to see continued uptrend, and yeah, also noting that rejection from the 50-day moving average. So SUI is another one we're just going to wait patiently on. Link here, same thing. Link has lost its support in through here on the 4 hour. So just paying attention, looking for a potential to start buying Link between $12.75 down to about $9.50. Could be a decent accumulation opportunity for Link. And then Doge here, so Doge was also a request from my Telegram group. Basically what I saw, it was uptrending here, looking good. We had a nice breakout back test holding it, but ultimately we see here lower high, lower low, subsequent lower high, confirmed rejection, and then ultimately coming back down, losing all this support through here. So not the ideal play for Doge. If we look, we could even retrace further down. So we take our Fibonacci, just drag that up a little bit. So yeah, even coming down to 16.6 or that 15.5 cent region for Doge. Maybe we look to build out a little bit of a bottom here on the higher time frame, but everything looking relatively weak in my opinion. Tron, like TRX, is actually looking not as bad. It's just about to get peaking above its 50-day moving average here, holding above its 200-day very well. It is stuck under this downsloping trend line, but again, this is one I want to see. If we can see it break out, come up to this trend line, put in a higher low, break out, confirm that breakout, hold those moving averages as support, that's a good swing trade opportunity. It would also be flipping this VRVP point of control into support, so a really decent opportunity for TRX there. That's probably one of the more favored coins in terms of the administration right now. So lots of different charts. Everything's looking pretty weak apart from a couple coins. You know, nothing is bottoming. Support is breaking. We're getting rejected by key moving averages. So unfortunately, the majority of the plays are going to be just continuing to sit on your hands. As I've said before, if you want to DCA, there's nothing wrong with DCAing. Just make sure that you're willing to sustain more downwards price action. You know, we could continue breaking down. It really depends what the stock market does. You know, so if your strategy is to DCA and it's come down to a level within your risk profile, there's nothing wrong with that. I personally just wait for that macro trend and then I put a larger amount of money in. So when I talk about like kind of positioning in trends as opposed to just DCAing the whole way down, you know, I could buy a downtrend on 10 different points all the way down, trying to time the bottom every single time, or I could wait for that confirmation of the macro trend and put a larger sum of money or a larger relative sum of money. So let's say you're 50% cash and you're trying to enter the market. Do you do that continuously all the way down, putting a few percent in here and there, or do you wait for the bottom to form, for that trend to reverse, for the uptrend to start, and then you put a substantial amount of money in as opposed to those lower amounts? So let's say if you're DCAing, you know, you're putting in 5% at a time, all the way down, you still end up with a decent cost basis. That being said, it's pretty stressful kind of following that, buying that knife all the way down. It's better for me personally. I like to wait for that trend and then just go in with more conviction, more size in the macro trends, you know, not worrying about perfectly timing tops or bottoms, because that's how you're going to catch falling knives. It's how you're going to kind of really FOMO in the market. Emotion's going to take control. So this strategy that I've come up with just allows me to play the trends and compound those returns. So thank you so much for watching, guys. If you like the content, please share, subscribe, like. It all means the world to me, and I'll see you in the next one.